When the bill is due, the bill is due. You agreed. I agreed. Are you with me? Okay, good. So, let's continue on here. This says history, 0303. So, we're looking at those numbers, 999, 5432, all that stuff. We're looking back at time. So that first 9 is from March of 03. Remember, this is an old credit report. It's not current. So 03, that first 9 says that on March of 03, they were what? Reported what?
Charged off.
Charged off, a 9. The 9 to the right of that, the second 9 in that line, what month is that from?
April.
February. April. How'd you get to April? What kind of math are you doing? Oh, I see what you're doing. You're going forward in time. You're going backwards. We're looking at history. So it would be what? No, not. Well, what are we in? We're in March. Oh, you know what? I'm wrong. Hold on a second. February is correct because he's right. So wait, I'm going to give you $5 for that one. There you go. Yeah, I was wrong, and I said you were wrong, and I was wrong. You're correct. Why is it February? Because we're looking at history going back in time. So what is the 9 next to that, the third one? January. And that 5 is what? December of 2002. So we're looking back in time to see when things are paid and how they're paid. Does that make sense? Okay. So let's see. Who haven't I picked on? I like you looking at me. That's good. That's good. Okay. Let's see. You know, looking away from me is not going to help you. I know. It's all good. Want to play along with me?
Sure.
All right. What's your first name?
Avery.
Avery. All right. So this really happened to me. I was doing a loan. We were doing streamlined refinances all over the country. So I do things by phone. So I'm already working on your file. I already know that I can do this loan for him, the streamlined refinance. But I used to like to let my customers know, my clients, that I'm working really hard for them. Even though I might not have something that's really difficult, I want you to think that I'm working really hard. Is that sales? Happens, right? I'm not hurting anybody.
At the best, at the high.
So I called you up one day. Ring, ring. Avery.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, good. Hey, it's Doug. Listen, I'm working on your file here, and I'm looking at your credit report. I got a question from my underwriters here that I have to ask you on your credit report, all right? Okay. All right, so please answer this question for me. I'm looking here, and I noticed I need you to explain to me why 6 months ago you were 60 days late on your Victoria's Secrets account.
Actually, that's not my account.
All right. That's not what I heard from the guy. By the way, it wasn't a Victoria's Secrets account. It was from like a local jewelry store. So he said, oh, how did you know about that? And I said, Avery, I'm your loan officer. I know everything. So what I said to the guy. He goes, no, really, how'd you know? I said, it's on your credit report. I says, do you not know what it is? He goes, no, I'm not sure what that is. I said, would you like me to ask your wife? Oh, no, don't ask her. I said, okay, so then I can give you any interest rate that I want on this loan?
Smart man.
What do you think happened there? He bought jewelry on credit, probably not for his wife. So if you're going to learn a lesson here today, guys, what should you do if you buy jewelry for your girlfriend? Pay cash and burn the receipt. What did you learn in Doug's credit? Buy jewelry. You can't. That's a great testimonial, right? All right. Oh, by the way, thank you for reminding me. Please, if you want to do testimonials later, I would love that. They're great. Your question? There is. We do a manual underwrite with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and we'll look at that and we'll see what's going on. But some of the houses are still under repair, and we can't lend if they're under repair. So we do look at those things. If there are catastrophes that take place, we do look at those things. We want to do lending that's based off of, the right thing. We don't, everybody doesn't fit just into a black and white box. We do look at them, but most of them cannot get loans. But some of them do. Did I tell you guys what the 2 pillars of lending are? Okay, so borrowing. So here's what you want to do. Remember, two major pillars in lending, all kinds of lending, but especially mortgage lending. Somebody has to have cash flow. They have to have income, money coming in, right? We call that cash flow that they have, that income, their ability to repay a loan. But then we have to look at their credit report. We look at their credit report because that's their willingness to repay a loan. Are you with me? So if we have somebody that makes $20,000 a month in income, can they afford a $500,000 mortgage with a $3,000 a month payment? Wait, they're making $20,000 a month. They can't afford $3,000? All day long. It's a $500,000 mortgage with a $3,000 payment, right? They can afford that, right? So they have the ability to repay it. But if I look at their credit report and their credit score is 11, am I making a loan to them? No, because they have the ability to repay, but not the willingness. Flip the script on that. Somebody's working at McDonald's, making $20,000 a year for the last 5 years. They have a $500 Macy's card, a $500 J.C. Penney charge card, and they buy clothes or shoes or whatever, and they pay back on time for years. They're going to have a credit score that's over 800 because they're very likely not to go bad on their credit. So if they come and they want to get a loan for $500,000 on a mortgage, will we lend to them? Why not? Correct. They have the willingness to repay, but not the ability to repay. They need to have both the ability and the willingness to repay.
How about one? I got a cocktail waitress at the casino.
Okay.
Or poker dealer.
You got a cocktail waitress at the casino and
And a poker dealer.
a poker dealer. Okay.
Now, we know they make the money,
Right.
but how do we show it for them to get the loan?
So we're going to do verification of employment for them.
They've been over at Bagada for 10 years.
Good. I'm going to do verification of employment to find that they're working here. And I'm going to see what they do on their tax returns. So it's really not that hard. Okay? Poker dealer at Borgata might make $1,500 a week.
He does.
You make $7,500 a year, and the cocktail waitress might be making something similar.
But he can't get the house $100,000 because he just don't show it on the paper.
So if he's claiming only $50,000 and she's claiming $50,000, together they make $100,000, they might get qualified. Maybe, all right? All right, let's continue on. So we look at the history, the subject, it says joint contractual. What does that mean? That means, well, it doesn't have to be husband and wife. It could just be any two people. It could be partners. Date of last activity, 7/03. Type is a credit card. So you can see the address there. So if I needed to write to them, I could write to them. Go to the next page, the back of that page. Take a look at the second box. It says public records. Public records says U.S. Bankruptcy Court, New Jersey, Camden, reports a bankruptcy filed on 2/31/1993. It's discharged. Is that good?
Yes.
Tell me something about this bankruptcy, please. Yes.
They may be eligible for a loan 2 years after the filing date.
2 to 4 years after, not after the filing date, after the date of discharge. Anything else you want to tell me about this one? There's no February 3rd. All right, that's $1. There is no February 31st. That is a correct answer. Would you pass this down there, please? All the way down, nice. There's no February 31st, so that would be an inaccurate thing that's on my credit. That's something that I would fight. Have them remove that. All right, let's move on. We now have, go to the next page. The top of that page will say HHLD Bank. Can somebody tell me something that jumps out at you when you look at that page? All the ones. They're all paid on time or as agreed. Very good. Let's go to the last page. All right. If you go to the third box, you see it says Manila, Sal. Tell me something about the Social Security numbers. They're all different, which means that there could be a possibility of fraud. Tell me something about the date of birth, 1955. Is that okay? Sure. What about the second one and third one? There's nothing wrong with them. The second one just says he was born 1955, December. And the third one says 12/26/55.
The exact date.
That's the exact date of his birthday. You don't usually see that, but sometimes you do. Address information. You see, this is where we find out where you previously lived. Say that again? Just go off? Oh, you can hear me. We always ask, have you lived at your current address for at least 2 years?
Yeah, because it's Bensonhurst instead of Brooklyn.
Right, it's Bensonhurst instead of Brooklyn, but Bensonhurst is Brooklyn, but it does look different.
It looks different.
Fair enough? This is where you would highlight in blue if you had 15 of these. You've been living in your house for 12 years. Do you need to have 17 previous addresses on there? Highlight that in blue, tell them take it off. I'm 15 years on my current address. We don't need all these previous addresses. Take them off my credit report. Okay, let's continue on. Let's go down to AKA information. What is that? I'm afraid to ask, how come you know that's also known as right away? Yeah. He's got a similar name. Salvatore Manila, Sally Knuckles. All right, so you said you were a junior, right?
Yes.
All right. What is your real name?
Al Bailey.
Al Bailey. And you're the junior?
I'm junior.
Okay. Now, is your first name Al or is it
Alonzo.
Alonzo? Alonzo?
No, Alonzo. Alonzo.
Oh, Alonzo, okay. So now he goes by Al. Do you write a lot of times just Al?
Yeah.
When you do legal documents, do you use your full name?
No, until I have to be corrected. Say, Bales, you got to put down,
So what happens is you go to closing for a house, we have a sheet that says also known as. You have to put down all the other names, including Big Daddy that you're known by. Because we want to know, as a lender, are we lending to the right person? We want to know what's going on if you have any other names. So if you have a name that is a short name, I'm Douglas. Nobody ever calls me Douglas unless it's my mother and she's mad at me. Otherwise, it's always Dougie, Dougie Fresh, Dougie Doug. I hear all of them, right? Do the Dougie. It's all that stuff, right? All right, let's continue on.
And if you don't have a middle name,
Yes?
but in your report it's a middle name, or they're trying to issue you a credit card with a middle name.
Let them know. I do not have a middle name. You can be very specific. You put, when you fill it out, do N/A, not applicable. Do not have a middle name. All right, let's continue on. We're doing good here. Let's see. All right, down at the bottom, I have two things that are on there. There's a student loan consolidation, and it's not just for government workers. So if you want to consolidate debt for student loans, find out which ones offer it, and sometimes you can consolidate them, and it's free. Now, you seem to have some experience with this. Am I giving them the right guidance? Because I've done it many times. Is there a better place for them to go?
No, that is right. They can consolidate it. I wasn't thinking.
No, it's all good. That website, though, is there a better website for them to go to? Do you know of one? Or do you have any tips for the class on what they should do? I've never given out tips on what to do. Just ask them to consolidate all of these things. That's usually taken care of.
Well, mostly I've come in contact with people who are in default in their student loans. And I always say, why are you in default? If you're in default because you're disabled, then you could call the student loan corporation.
I'm going to repeat it.
You can call the student loan corporation, and 9 times out of 10, they will forgive that student loan. You don't have to worry about paying it.
So she said, what's the reason you're in default? If it's because you're disabled, permanently disabled, you can call them or write to them, and they will forgive the loan. Fair enough? Okay. So good. That's good advice. Yes?
But there are a lot of companies now established for loan forgiveness.
There are places that will do loan forgiveness. Now look, I want you to understand this. Let's say I have a $30,000 deferred student loan on the credit report that I see. It used to be if it was deferred 2 years or more, we didn't have to count any payment. Today, we have to use 1%. So $30,000, $300, we use that. Now, never have your customers call up and ask, what would be my fully amortized if I was to pay this off over 30 years? That's always going to be higher than us using 1%. So don't let them do that because it'll show up in the credit report and then we have to do it. Fair enough? All right. Yes?
Can I throw that scenario at you this time?
No, I don't want to answer it for the whole class. I'm going to answer it privately for you because it's a long question. That's why I wanted to hold off. It's a really big question. I want to answer it privately for you. We'll go to the back of the room on that. All right, so look, Rick Ross, co-founder of whatever group there, he does student loans. The way I found out about him, somebody had come to my class and said, oh, I know this guy that does student loan stuff upstate New York. I said, okay, I'll write to him and see if it's some information that can help people because you guys know a lot of people that are in college and everything like that. I get a call from this guy one day and he says to me, hey, Doug, before we talk about what I do, I got a question for you. And I said, all right, I'm going to tell you the answer's already yes. He goes, you don't know what question I'm going to ask you. I go, you're upstate New York. I'm going to guess that you're going to ask me, am I related to Vairo, the hockey coach that was the head coach of the 1984 Olympic hockey team? He goes, I was going to ask you that. I know the guy. I said, yeah, it's my brother. So we talked hockey for about an hour. Anyway, I talked to him about business for a while, and I really liked what he had to say. So if you have somebody that's in college,